This weekend is the first annual Student Art Auction. This benefits the Holliston Community Action Fund, and it's being held here at the Kamala Building. All weekend long, there'll be a silent auction for the benefit of the Community Action Fund. So let's talk to some of the students and let's see the art. PJ, you're one of the artists here at the art show. Tell us about your art.
So a few years ago, I went to Italy and I took this photo off of the Amalfi Coast. I wasn't really sure where to start with the photographic process, but I really enjoyed it. I didn't do too much for it, but I started to really enjoy photography.
And why are you doing this show?
Well, I really love the community in Holliston, and I've been part of HCAF for around a year now. So I was really happy when Mr. Drohan said that we were going to do an art auction. I've enjoyed art for a while.
Lauren, you're one of the student artists here. Tell me about what inspires you about ceramics.
Okay, so I really like the hands-on part of the art, and at the high school we do ceramics class and we use like the wheel, and you really get into it with your hands and you can shape different pots and just make the art what you want it to be.
And what have you got here today that you're donating?
I made this ceramic bowl on the wheel during art class.
Do you like putting the different glazes on?
Yes, there's a bunch of textures you can do. I just stuck with like a shiny metallic kind of, but there's a bunch of other textures and colors that really make it stand out.
Is it a surprise when something comes out of the kiln?
Yes, sometimes you don't expect what you put on, like what glaze you put on, but yes, it's always an interesting piece.
I hope you keep it up, and I hope your piece makes a lot of money for the cause.
Thank you so much.
Tell us about how this art show came about.
We're the Holliston Community Action Fund, the student division. They came up with the idea, they wanted to do a fundraiser, and so many of them were artistic, so they came up with the idea, let's do some sort of fundraiser that has to do with art, and we wanted to do something that was, that was going to work in the wintertime and kind of work with the weather. So we had this space, Kate LaMontagne and Kamal Boutique, they're not using the space right now, so they let us use it, and the idea came up to let's do a silent art auction, and sure enough, here they are. They showed up. When the idea first came up, I connected with Doug Lack, who's the director of art at Holliston High School. So many of the art pictures that you see here are all from the art department. Mr. Lack he said, hey, do you kids want to do some art for this? And they all pitched in, and so most of it is from that class.
And how's the student division? What have they been doing this year so far in terms of other activities?
The big thing the student division does is because the Community Action Fund has done so much for Holliston throughout COVID, their biggest thing is to kind of provide, to give, tell everybody about the Community Action Fund and let everybody know like what we do and kind of spread the word. So kind of community awareness has been their big focus, kind of coming up to this point.
And this will certainly draw a lot of community awareness.
We hope so, right? Yeah, and that's the thing. The Community Action Fund, some people know about it, many people don't. It's really something that does a lot of good for people who really need it, and it's one of those things where if somebody needs something, it's like they're out of work, or if they need some sort of help, some sort of financial help, but they're not really excited about kind of letting everybody know about it. The Community Action Fund is one of these like really fast ways to kind of help people who are really in need, because everything goes through the Department of Youth and Family Services. So everything's confidential, and so there's no kind of anybody finds out about what happens with the Community Action Fund.
I think what's great about it is it's a safety net, and it's private, and it's an amazing idea, and I hope this event makes a lot of awareness for you.
Yeah, awareness, and if we make some money, that would be great too. For anybody who wants to donate to the Community Action Fund, you can go to hollistoncommunityaction.org, and there's a donate button. we've done a lot of things, and people ask like kind of what do you give money to, what do you support, and it's if somebody like I said, if they're out of work, they can't pay their electric bill, or they're having trouble paying their rent, the Community Action Fund's there to kind of help them kind of bridge that gap, to kind of get to kind of get out of the woods.
Heidi, what's happening out here?
Well, we're serving free food tonight for the Student Art Festival, and our student volunteers have been doing a great job setting things up. So we're kind of feeding them, and we're going to feed anybody who shows up.
How did the Community Action Fund rise to the occasion during the pandemic?
Yeah, well, we had been working with families that had emergencies that came up, and we were able to distribute funds that they needed for utilities or things that they really needed. And then the pandemic hit, and a number of people lost their jobs and needed help with rent support and mortgage support. And fortunately for us, at the same time, the federal government came through with funds, and because the Community Action Fund was in existence here in Holliston, we were able to work with the town to help distribute over $75,000 over the last year and a half to families in need to help with mortgage and rent. And we continued to support families who needed help with their utilities or medical expenses, and we've been doing that work for a few years now.
Original art for a good cause, and what's better than that? For Heartbeat of Holliston, I'm Chris O'Lawless.